This is the year of exposure, because when I tell you the Democrat Party's holes where people can see through it are getting so big that things are being brought up that nobody was aware of, that are huge, that would have never been exposed if it wasn't for the shift, the political shift going on in the country right now, with all the things going on with President Trump winning, Charlie Kirk losing his life, the 2 attempts on President Trump, the radicalization of the Democrat Party, and all of these anti-FA. Now, when I say anti-FA, I'm unable to say the name on YouTube because they'll come at you for stuff like that. So just think of anti-FA and you'll get what it is I'm saying. With all of this crap going on, it's pissing Americans off. And so now people have started digging. And through their digging, we got James Comey already indicted, Letitia James, Adam Schiff is coming down the pike, and John Bolton. But here we got the self-proclaimed Democrat socialist, Zohran Mamdani. Now, he came out of nowhere. He's been an American citizen for 7 years. His mother is a big-time director that does foreign films. She doesn't just do little tiny films. She does big production films around the world. Her films are more for the international base, which is why they don't ring bells and you're not familiar with her name here. And his father is a professor, a socialist at that, self-proclaimed socialist. So this is who brought this man up. Now, I want you to listen to this clip of Sam Antar. Now, Sam Antar is the same exact man who exposed Letitia James for her corruption. Now, I want you to listen. You see this title, Mamdani mayoral campaign took in 13,000 in illegal foreign aid donations, record show. And you might say, well, 13,000, Brian, really, is that a lot? By the end of this video, your mind will be blown. And I want you to hear what President Trump has to say. I want you to see and hear what the agenda is, allegedly, that Mamdani and some Muslims are pushing for in America. That will blow your mind too. So let me get off into this clip with Sam Antar and let you listen to what it is that he has to say, because this man is an expert when it's coming to digging through financial records and getting to the truth. So check out Sam.
With me now is the man who uncovered and analyzed all the data and all the numbers behind Mamdani's campaign. He's a forensic accountant, Sam Antar. If you recognize Sam, that's because he's the same guy who uncovered Tish James, New York Attorney General, we'll use the word alleged, her alleged fraud. Welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show. So, Sam, this is a lot of work. Okay, so how can it possibly be that this guy has such a huge coffer, millions of dollars? You were able to uncover that not a single donation came from like a regular person? How's that possible?
First of all, let's talk about sources. I downloaded all the information from the New York City Board of Elections website. It's available to the public. It was a 27,000 row spreadsheet taking up over 500 pages. I looked at it both myself. I said, what? There's something wrong here. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe whatever. There's no way that every dollar came from bundlers. And I run it through Excel's tools. I run it through 3 different AIs, and I came up with the same conclusion. And then I still didn't trust the AIs. I did it again. So basically, you have 27,600 and something lines. Okay, 70 of them or so were not attributed to bundlers, and the total from those lines was zero.
Unbelievable.
Zero. Now, when you look at it, you say, okay, the guy has 4.5 million people on social media between YouTube, Instagram, Twitter ex-Twitter, and Facebook, and whatever, right? And they all tell you, go to the Mamdani campaign website. You know, you go and you fill out a form and you donate money. And the form, if you look at the source code, which I did, the money goes right to New York City Votes. Who keeps track? Was it bundled money? Was it this? Was it that? Right? Now, based upon the data, okay, all of those commercials, all of that beautiful media coverage that he gets, you know, they slobber over him. Based on all of that, the social media stuff is scripted. Not a single dime ends up in his campaign coffers as a result of all of his appearances. It's all bundled money. Now, it's kind of like a TV show with great ratings. They play the commercials, but nobody buys the product. He's a lab rat. He was engineered in the lab, made for television, but he gets no grassroots results as far as it concerns money. His bundler raised, one single bundler raised 94% of the $1.7 million that he raised from his base. He had another $1.9 million that he raised from PACs on top of that. This is not a grassroots candidate. Right. Okay. Now, his bundle, by the way, raised 35% of overall bundler funds attributed to all candidates across the city. And he was 10 times more than the second place bundler.
Wow. So did you hear that his bundles accounted for 35% of all the bundle money taken in by all of the candidates in New York City? Now, that's on the heels of this right here, where we find out campaign finance records reveal 72% of Zohran Mamdani's campaign cash came from out-of-state donors, not local supporters. His donors, Hollywood elites and tech billionaires. Grassroots was a lie, and it's going to get deeper. So as you can see, the 2 million grassroots laundering operation behind Mamdani's revolution. Okay, so this is getting deep for him. Now, what we finding out is that the money that Mamdani is raising, some is coming from people outside of even the country. They're doing interviews and bringing him on television in foreign countries, talking about his campaign here in the United States for New York, encouraging people to donate to his campaign. Now, we know that that's illegal for a candidate to take foreign monies in election in U.S. elections. But Mamdani is doing it, just like Democrats always do, violating the rules. They don't account for him. Now, why is it so important that we got this man who they're lying like he got all of this grassroots support when in reality he doesn't? Matter of fact, most New Yorkers do not like his plans or his policies he's pitching. You got a small circle of these radicalized people who are the ones that don't have jobs, that are capable of showing up every time this man has a speaking engagement and just make a lot of noise, but you never see the camera turn around and pan the audience. The only time that happened was at his election party, and for all that we know, that company, Crowds on Demand, that's the name of the company, Crowds on Demand, they've been supplying a whole lot of Democrat politicians with their quote-unquote loyal crowds, right? So let's listen to what Mamdani, who may be the future mayor of New York, have to say about violence. And you may say, why is this important to me? If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I'll never ask you for a cash app or for a super chat, but you hitting that like button, it helps get the video out. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're already subscribed or just subscribing now, make sure that you hit notifications and then you select all, because YouTube has issues getting notifications out. But when you select all, YouTube will make sure that you get notified when I upload new videos. It's important to you because New York is the financial headquarters, not just for the US, but for the world. So if we have a socialist running the show in New York, the financial headquarters, the root for financial business in the US and around the world, the catastrophe that could come out of that when you got somebody who's a self-proclaimed socialist, a Muslim who supported Hamas, running the city we know as the financial headquarters for the US, that just spells for doom. But check out what he feels violence is.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence at the highest degree.
And you got him screaming about what violence is while he supports illegal immigrants who take the lives of American citizens, and he doesn't feel like they should be in prison because he's too busy doing this. One thing we know about Zohran, he's a huge supporter of the LGBTQIA and the trans community. Check this out.
Come on, come through.
Now, is it me or is Zohran Mamdani just seem like the fakest politician out there next to Kamala Harris? He is like the fakest. That grin is so disingenuous. And here's the real kicker. And riddle me this. How do you believe that this man, who we know is a Muslim, you know, refuses to denounce Sharia law, any of those things? Now, how is he going to merge LGBTQIA and Muslims and make that make sense? Muslims don't support that. So what he's doing is he's pandering. He's pandering to these different people, and he is whoever you want him to be when he's in front of you. Now, one thing that that did take place that, you know, he really didn't like and made him look bad is during a meeting, it was like a round table with this man, Whitney Tilson, and Zohran Mamdani. And as you see, Whitney Richard Tilson is an American former hedge fund manager, an author, and Democratic Party political activist. He was a candidate in the 2025 New York City primary. Now, I want you to listen to what he has to say about Zohran Mamdani as a New Yorker and as a fellow Democrat who they try to make you believe got all this grassroots support. Check this clip out.
issue is very personal to me. My wife and 3 daughters are Jewish. We've been members of Central Synagogue for 25 years, and I've been horrified by the explosion of anti-Semitism. It makes all of us feel unsafe. I think a big chunk of Jews feeling unsafe is the mobs that have been incited on our college campuses and in our streets. There is someone on this stage with me who has been a primary inciter of these mobs over his entire life, who won't visit Israel, who refuses to acknowledge Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state, who has accused Israel of genocide, who is a leader of the movement to divest from Israel. I think that needs to be. Issue is very personal.
So as you can see, Tilson called him out right there. And he's a Democrat, but he has Jewish wife, Jewish children. I want to give a big shout out to the sponsor of this video, Chapter. And here's why. When my mom hit 65 years old, I watched her get bombarded with mailers, cold calls, and all these confusing ads about Medicare. And every single company pretended like they wanted to help her, but really they were just trying to sell her stuff. It seemed like the game was rigged and she was not supposed to win at all. And that's why I'm so excited to share information about Chapter with all of you. Now, who Chapter is? Chapter is a free Medicare advisory service that compares Medicare plans available, and they give you real, unbiased guidance. Chapter is completely independent and always puts customers first. Their whole focus is all about making sure that their customers, the seniors, get the right Medicare plan. And it's clear that they're making a real difference in the lives of seniors. So if you want real, unbiased help with Medicare, give Chapter a call at 402-527-1253. You'll talk to a real person who will help you figure out exactly which plan is right for you and has saved the average senior $1,000 a year. So I'm going to put the number here on the screen for you to be able to contact, or if you visit the website, go to askchapter.org/realpolitics. And he called him out. This person right here on this stage is inciting the violence. And that's exactly what Zohran does. Now imagine the same person who was called in to defund the police, who was called in the police racist and anti-LGBTQIA and anti-queer and all of this crap. He's going to be the one that's going to be running the show. What type of respect will our police officers get? He's another one of these lunatics like the mayor of Chicago, ironically, 2 of the worst cities as far as when it comes to crime in the country, that believes that, you know what, majority of the police calls are from mental health issues. Yeah, that's what's causing somebody to freaking try to chop somebody's head off or, want to hurt their family member or take the life of some random person that's riding the train. Yes, that boils down to mental issues. So they believe that we should get rid of police and hire more social workers to go out and deal with these situations. We know what that'll bring: more crime and more crime. And then you had ignorant Jasmine Cratchit, who literally had the nerve to stick her big wig wearing face on TV and state that police don't prevent crimes. Police investigate crime. They solve them, but police don't prevent crimes. Are you idiot? Police are there, yes, to prevent crime. But she's also the same person that said crossing the border illegally isn't a crime. Literally, she said crossing the border illegally is not a crime. That's kind of an oxymoron, because you literally just said crossing the border illegally is not a crime. If it's illegal, it makes it a crime, right? Now, this clip here are actual Muslims in the country that are sharing with all of us what they're planning and what they are pushing in America. Check this out. It'll freak you out.
Present what we as Muslims want to implement here in the United States. We believe the Constitution should be replaced by the Quran.
First move that I will do, I will abolish the Constitution and I will establish the only logical and rational Constitution, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
When it comes to spreading Islam on a state level, on a societal level, that method prescribed is jihad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed that the ones who don't accept the ruling of Islam, they must be fought. This is simply the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So as you heard, this man just said anybody that does not follow the Quran, that they must be fought. They must be. So these people want to abolish our Constitution rather than going to where they're from and working to structure that Constitution the way they want it. And that always trips me out. You talk about America being so this and so racist and so bad, but yet you're not on your home soil fighting the good fight. And listen, any of these idiots on the black side that you hear talking about from Africa, I am an American. I am born in America. My children are born in America. My parents are born in America. Their parents were born in America. I'm an American who happens to be black. And when people always try to say this wake up call and blah, yes, there's prejudice everywhere. There's prejudice in every single ethnic group, every single one. So it isn't isolated just where one group is just against black folks. That's bullcrap, because there's just as many black people that may feel that way about others than they feel that way about them. It's all wrong at the end of the day, period. But they try to make this thing all about this racism to help us really to distract everybody from what's really going on. It's a clash of ideologies. They're really trying to make this more of a religious fight. That's what it's turning out to. Mamdani's family was also one that said that the 400,000 Christians that were killed over there in the African continent, they said that wasn't genocide. But what happened in Israel and Palestine, that was. So is genocide on this side when somebody you really don't like is doing something, but on this side, well, you don't really care so much. It's not Israel and it's just Christian. So no, that's not genocide. These folks are dangerous. Now, check this clip out on Newsmax, where they're going to dig into Zohran even more as far as in getting his response on President Trump and his ceasefire peace deal between Israel and Palestine. And then right after this, I'm going to let you hear what President Trump himself had to say. Check this clip out.
I want to get to this clip here, Jason. New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. The reason I bring this up is because he potentially could be the face of the Democrat Party if he wins the race here in New York. But he was asked specifically about this and whether or not President Trump should get any recognition for having this deal come together. Watch this.
Do you believe the president deserves credit for brokering this ceasefire?
I'll say that the news of a ceasefire leaves me with hope, the images of children celebrating, and I pray that it is lasting. I pray that it delivers peace. And I think that the question of praise should come in the enforcement of this ceasefire.
So, Jason, that question to you, is that the praise that clearly this Democrat feels that that's where it should be, is what comes next, whether or not they can keep the peace? Do you agree with that?
No, first of all, you know why you can't trust some politicians? Because they can't even admit the truth. President Trump deserves absolutely all the credit. And yes, there are difficult questions. President Trump will have to work hard. His team will have to work hard to enforce this agreement. But the fact that Mamdani couldn't even say that President Trump deserves this credit and respect President Trump for the chapter that we seem to be turning is shocking and shameful.
Absolutely. It was interesting that they'd asked him that question, and he didn't really have that. That was his answer.
So as you heard, this man was unwilling, just like Barack Obama, unwilling to even give credit to the president for stopping the war that he said that he was so passionate about. You see, these Democrat politicians, they're not happy about this peace deal. Because remember, they were running around campaigning on this, relating to the left-wing radicals, free Palestine, and we're doing all this wildness. So now, guess what? They're going to have to find a new grift. Just like all of those protesters, there were people who haven't had jobs in months, who have been living off getting paid to go around and do these Palestine protests. But if you notice, even those had been dying down. Why? Because the well was running dry. That USAID slush fund wasn't there anymore. So these doggone protests, or if you notice, start looking at the Portlands and all these other places. You just got a ragtag group of some left-wing extremists who have nothing better to do but want to pull their phones out and post it on Instagram or X that, hey, look, I'm here fighting the fight. Right. Now that this whole Gaza and this Israel and Palestine thing is ceased, they're going to have to find a new grift. They got to find something new to rage out about. But even still, they don't want to give credit to the president. And this is somebody that's running to be mayor of the financial center of the world. Now, on the heels of that, let's listen to what President Trump had to say. And whether you agree or not, I hope you do, but President Trump will go down as one of the best or the best president ever in history. I firmly believe that. He will go down as the best or one of the best presidents ever. So let's get off into what our president, my president, the best president had to say.
Communist who's 33 years old, doesn't know a damn thing. Practically, he's never worked a day in his life. And he sort of caught on, right? And I'm not going to send a lot of money to New York. I don't have to. The money comes all through the White House. And if they're going to be sending us stupid policies, communist policies, which is proven for thousands of years doesn't work. We don't have to prove it again. We're not going to ruin one of our great cities because we'll make that great. We will clean up the crime in about 30 days. It took 12 days to do Washington, D.C., so New York is bigger. And Chicago, we've already made a lot of progress despite fighting from the government, but Chicago's doing great. Memphis is doing really great. We have great support there from the political leaders. They said, please come in and clean up crime. And we love it. We've in 1 week, Memphis is so good. It's so much better. We'll have it within a month. We'll have that into a safe city again. And all of these cities, we want to clean them up. We don't like that opposition. But if somebody's going to be a communist mayor of New York, it's a fluke if he gets in. There are a lot of failed people that he's running against. I mean, we have failed, you have inferior candidates or something, because it's impossible to think that New York City can have a communist mayor. He's a communist. He's not a socialist, by the way. There's a big difference. He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist. He hates police. He wants to get rid of all police. I mean, how can a policeman? He hates Jewish people, and yet he's got Jewish people supporting. He hates Jewish people. So it comes through the White House. The funding for New York and for every place comes through the White House. And I'm very generous, and I was always very generous with New York, even when you had opposition there, but I was always very generous. But I wouldn't be generous to a communist, a guy that's going to take the money and throw it out the window, because you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're not going to let somebody get into office and squander the taxpayer money from this country. We're not going to let it happen. So it's a little bit like that with, if you take a look at Argentina, if the president doesn't win, I know the person that he'd be running against, I believe, we probably have the person.
So as you heard, President Trump totally has already got his game plan on how to deal with this clown out there. And he's right. All of the money that will be going to New York City will be under the control of the mayor. And with all of these policies of government-ran grocery stores and rent freezes and all of this stuff that only sound good to somebody that's either ignorant, lacking information, or that sees themselves as some poor person that will never, ever, ever pull themselves up by their bootstraps. So yeah, free, yes, gimme, sounds good to them. But those who, have ambitions, those who feel, one day I'm going to be earning more money, or one day I'm going to be doing X, Y, Z. And how would I feel if all of my hard work that I put in to have my things stripped away from me and given to someone else who decided and chose that they were not going to do it? And we're talking about the same state whose governor, Kathy Hochul, said that black children didn't know what a computer was. And she endorsed this man. And was the irony of it all, she endorsed him, then came out and put herself on the chopping block, and he refused to endorse her because he knows it'll piss his base off. So he wasn't willing to stand up for her, but she was willing to piss off her base to endorse him. Because remember, you got the Democrat Party, then you got the left-wing radical progressives. And at the end of the day, that party is clashing, is eating himself from the inside. Just like you got those who are going to be, due to Zohran Mamdani, you got more Muslims who are going to be affiliated with the party, but yet you got the LGBTQ and the trans. They're not going to hold any rallies or do anything together. And now the fact that everybody's unified on Orange Man bad, Trump's not on the ballot in 2026. He's not on the ballot in 2028. And so what you're going to see, this victimhood coalition, because that's all it is. It's just, who's the biggest victim? You're a victim. You're a victim. Okay, we can all be victims together under the same tent against the Orange Man. When he's gone, you're going to see these groups break up and splinter, and they're going to begin fighting and tearing each other down, while the Republicans will continue to get strong, get more unified, more united, and take this country in the direction that it needs to go. But I just wanted to bring you this to update you on what's going on with the Democrat Socialist, soon-to-be potential future mayor, Zohran Mamdani, out there in New York. So, if you hung out with me and watched it to this point, tell me what you think. How do you feel about this individual potentially being the mayor? If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you aren't subscribed, subscribe. I want to thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. I sincerely do. And also, I want to make sure that you always remember to stay safe and be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.